The restaurant was called Bella's. Nice, but not too fancy. The kind of place where you could have a first date without it feeling like too much pressure. Ethan Matthews sat at table 7, checking his watch for the third time. His best friend, Jake, had set this up, insisted it would be perfect. Trust me, man, Rebecca's great. You two will hit it off. Ethan was skeptical. At 36, he'd been a single father to his 9-year-old daughter Lily for 5 years, ever since his wife had passed from cancer. He wasn't against dating, but it always felt complicated. Most women didn't want to sign up for instant parenthood with someone else's child. "Daddy, is she here yet?" Lily asked from the booth next to him. Which brought him to the other complication. He'd brought his daughter to the blind date. "Not yet, princess." "Are you sure this is a good idea? What if she thinks you're weird for bringing me? Then she's not the right person, and we'll know early. Besides, you're my interview panel. If you don't approve, there's no second date." Lily giggled. "I'm going to ask her tough questions. I wouldn't expect anything less." A woman approached the table, and Ethan stood automatically. She was pretty, dark hair, warm smile, professionally dressed, but what caught his attention was the little girl holding her hand, maybe 6 years old, with her mother's dark eyes and a suspicious expression. "Ethan?" the woman asked. "Rebecca, hi. This is my daughter, Lily." Rebecca's eyes widened slightly as she took in the situation. "Oh, I didn't realize—" Jake didn't mention. She looked down at her own daughter. "This is Sophie. I didn't have a sitter tonight, and I was going to cancel, but Jake said it would be fine to bring her. I didn't know you'd have Lily here, too." Awkward silence hung in the air. Then Ethan laughed. "Well, this is either the worst first date setup in history or the most honest one. Please, sit. Let's make the best of it." Rebecca looked relieved. "I'm so sorry. This is probably weird. It's perfect, actually. No pretending our kids don't exist. No tiptoeing around the single-parent thing. It's all right there on the table." They sat down, the 4 of them in the booth, adults on the outside, kids in the middle. Sophie and Lily eyed each other warily. "So," Ethan said, "how do we do this? Adult conversation while the kids stare daggers at each other, or do we lean into the chaos?" "I vote chaos," Rebecca said, smiling. "I'm too tired to pretend to be sophisticated." "Same." "Lily, want to tell Rebecca about your science project?" "It's about volcanoes. I made one that actually erupted and got baking soda on everything." Dad wasn't happy about the carpet. I wasn't unhappy. I was impressed by the blast radius. "There's a difference." Rebecca laughed. "Sophie's currently obsessed with dinosaurs, specifically correcting everyone who gets facts wrong. It's exhausting. Triceratops had 3 horns, not 2, Sophie said seriously. "Most people don't know that." "I didn't know that," Ethan admitted. "Thank you for the education." The waiter came, and they ordered. Kids' meals for the girls, entrees for the adults. The conversation flowed more easily than Ethan expected. Rebecca was funny, self-deprecating, clearly tired from juggling work and single parenting but handling it with grace. "What happened to Sophie's father?" Ethan asked, then winced. "Sorry, that's probably too personal for a first date. It's fine. He left when she was 2. Decided fatherhood wasn't for him. We haven't heard from him in 4 years." "I'm sorry. Don't be. We're better off." "What about Lily's mother? Cancer. 5 years ago. She fought hard, but—" Ethan glanced at Lily, who was focused on coloring her kid's menu. "She was an amazing mom. Lily doesn't remember her as much as I'd like." "I'm so sorry." Rebecca's voice was genuine. "That must be incredibly hard. Some days more than others." Halfway through dinner, Sophie knocked over her water. Glass. It spread across the table, soaking napkins and threatening Rebecca's purse. Both adults jumped up to help, but Lily was faster. "I got it!" She grabbed napkins, started mopping up the spill, even retrieved Sophie's dropped crayon from the floor. "Thank you, Lily," Rebecca said, impressed. "It's okay. I spill stuff all the time. Dad says accidents happen and getting mad doesn't clean them up." Sophie looked at Lily with new respect. "Your dad is smart." "Yeah, he is, most of the time." After dinner, as they walked to the parking lot, Sophie tugged on Rebecca's sleeve. "Mom, can I whisper to you?" Rebecca leaned down. Sophie whispered something that made Rebecca's eyes go wide. Are you sure? Sophie nodded seriously. Rebecca stood up, looking at Ethan. Apparently, Sophie has decided you're not scary for a grown-up man and wants to know if we can see you again. Ethan looked at Lily. What's the verdict from my interview panel? Miss Rebecca is nice, and Sophie knows a lot about dinosaurs. I vote yes. Then yes, Ethan said to Rebecca, though the first have to ask. Is bringing our kids to every date going to be our thing? Would that be so bad? Ethan thought about the chaos of the evening, the spilled water, the interrupted conversations, the two kids who'd gone from suspicious to tentative friends. It had been messy and unpredictable, and nothing like the romantic first dates people talked about. It had also been the most honest date he'd ever had. No, he said. It wouldn't be bad at all. Their second date was at a children's museum. The kids ran ahead, excited to explore, while Ethan and Rebecca followed at a more leisurely pace. This is weird, right? Rebecca said. Dating with kids in tow? Completely. But it also makes sense. Our kids are our lives. Why pretend otherwise? Most men I've tried to date wanted me to get a sitter for every interaction. They wanted to pretend Sophie didn't exist until we were serious, like she was something to hide. That's insane. She's part of the package, a great part from what I've seen. Rebecca stopped walking, looking at him. You really mean that? Of course. Rebecca, I'm not interested in dating the version of you that exists without your daughter. I'm interested in the whole person, the mom who shows up to dates with dinosaur facts memorized, who handles spilled water with grace, who clearly loves her kid more than anything. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. I didn't think men like you existed. Right back at you. Most women aren't interested in a guy whose first priority is his daughter. Then they're idiots. Over the next months, they built something that didn't fit any traditional dating model. Sometimes dates were kid-free, when they could arrange sitters and wanted adult conversation. But often, it was all four of them. Parks and movies and dinners where they navigated the chaos of blending families. Lily and Sophie became genuine friends. Sophie taught Lily about paleontology. Lily taught Sophie about art. They bickered like sisters, made up like sisters, looked out for each other like sisters. I think they're handling this better than we are, Ethan told Rebecca 6 months in. They've decided we're keeping each other. Now they're just waiting for us to make it official. Is that what we're doing? Keeping each other? Rebecca took his hand. I love you. I love how you are with Lily, how you are with Sophie, how you never made me feel like I had to choose between dating and being a mom. So yes, I think we're keeping each other. I love you too. You make me remember that there's life after loss, that it's okay to be happy again. So what do we do now? I think we asked the kids if they'd be okay with us getting married. Because I'm not doing this without their blessing. They planned it carefully. A family dinner at Ethan's house, just the four of them. After the meal, Ethan cleared his throat. Girls, Rebecca and I want to talk to you about something important. Lily looked up from her dessert. Are you getting married? Ethan blinked. How did you've been acting weird all week. And you bought a ring. I saw it in your sock drawer. Okay, you're too observant, but yes, that's what we want to talk about. How would you both feel if Rebecca and I got married, if we all became a family? Sophie and Lily looked at each other, conducting one of those silent kid conversations. Do we get to be sisters? Sophie asked. Yes, Rebecca said, if that's what you want. And we'd all live together? Lily added. Eventually, yes, we'd figure out the details together. Would you still do dad-daughter movie nights with me? Lily asked Ethan, her voice small. Every week. That doesn't change. Though Sophie and Rebecca would be invited if they wanted to join. And would you still read to me before bed? Sophie asked Rebecca. Every single night. Some things are sacred. The girls looked at each other again. Then Lily spoke. We already talked about this a month ago. We decided if you got married, that would be okay. We were just waiting for you to figure it out. Ethan laughed. So we're the slow ones in this relationship? Yeah, pretty much, both girls said in unison. The wedding was small, just family and close friends. But the important part came before the ceremony, when both girls stood with them at the altar. We're not just marrying each other, Ethan said. We're becoming a family. All four of us. That means Lily and Sophie are as much a part of this commitment as Rebecca and I are. The officiant pulled out 2 additional rings. Smaller ones, child-sized. Lily, Do you accept Rebecca as your stepmom? Do you promise to be patient while we figure out how to be a family, to communicate when things are hard, and to remember that love is what brought us together?" Lily nodded seriously. "I do." Rebecca slipped the ring on Lily's finger. "I promise to love you, to listen to you, and to never try to replace your mom. I'm just adding love to your life, not replacing what came before." They did the same with Sophie, Ethan promising to be a stepdad who showed up, who cared, who would be there through good days and hard ones. And now, the officiant said, "I pronounce you a family. Not just married, but a complete unit of 4 people who chose each other." At the reception, Jake approached Ethan. "I have to admit, when you showed up to that blind date with Lily, I thought I'd ruined everything. Best mistake you ever made. Forcing us to be honest from the start meant we built something real. Still, bringing your kid to a first date? That was bold. It was necessary. I needed someone who'd accept both of us, not just the parts that were convenient." Rebecca joined them, Sophie on her hip and Lily holding her hand. "What are we talking about?" "About how I accidentally created the world's most unconventional first date." "Unconventional but perfect," Rebecca said. "If we'd tried to date the normal way, pretending to be people without kids, compartmentalizing our lives, we never would have worked. But showing up as our complete chaotic selves, that's what made this real." Years later, when people asked about their unusual first date, Ethan and Rebecca would tell the story with laughter. About the 2 single parents who brought their kids to a blind date, the spilled water, the dinosaur facts, the honest chaos of it all. "We didn't follow any dating rules," Rebecca would say. "We just showed up as parents first, everything else second. And our kids became sisters before we became a couple," Ethan would add. "They chose each other, then they chose us to figure it out." Lily and Sophie, older now but still best friends, would roll their eyes. "You two were so slow. We knew on day one." "They really were slow," Sophie would confirm. "We had to push them along." In our defense, Ethan would say, "We were trying to be responsible adults." "Boring adults," Lily would correct. Fair. Because sometimes the best relationships start in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes showing up with your whole messy truth is better than pretending to be someone easier to love. And sometimes the person you need is the one who looks at your daughter and says, "Bring her along instead of get a sitter." Ethan had done the unexpected by bringing Lily to that blind date. Rebecca had done the unexpected by bringing Sophie. Together, they'd built something more unexpected still, a family born from honesty, chaos, and the radical idea that love doesn't require perfection. Just presence, patience, and people willing to choose each other, complications and all. If this story resonated, share it with someone who knows that real love accepts the whole package. Subscribe for stories about unconventional families and choosing honesty over ease, and comment about an unexpected choice that led to something beautiful. Sometimes breaking the rules creates the best outcomes.